Okay, folks, so we are now ready to start. We see people coming in, just starting to get settled. They'll probably be continuing to come in. We're aware of that, so really good to see everybody coming into the room. So welcome everybody to this 2024 New Features webinar with SketchUp. Really good to see everybody here. We're looking at the guidelines for the focus session. What we're just going to do is we're going to run through some simple guidelines for you to take notice, and I'm sure you'll have a smooth and productive focus session. Everybody's on mute at the moment. If the chat can be used, if everybody can maybe start adding in the chat that they can see and hear. There's going to be a survey at the end of this webinar, so if you could please feel free to fill in the information, and yes, we'll get ready to start. Okay, so first of all, quick introduction. First presenter is myself, James Ogston. I am the owner of See It 3D, and I'm a SketchUp fully wired 3D Voyager. I started off as an early SketchUp trainer, one of the first authorized SketchUp trainers with Atlas Software, who were the original creators of SketchUp. We're now authorized partners for Trimble. We were authorized as Google partners before, and we are an authorized training center and sales partner in the UK. I enjoy brainstorming sessions whilst walking the dogs, and love also braving the unpredictable half-hourly Scottish tropical weather systems as they are. Moving on to Adam Tomaszek, who is an experienced SketchUp and layout user, freelancing with SketchUp and layout since 2010, extensive use of V-Ray and Blender for visualizations. He's been teaching since 2015 that, and also including teaching in an art school. He's a passionate woodworker. He enjoys physical work, mostly in wood, and he says that nothing more satisfying than drawing the design first and then making it in real thereafter. He is a shortcut master with SketchUp. He uses them basically, if you don't use them, you're as slow as a snail, as he says. And he's enthusiastic of classical architecture and requiring any model that requires a lot of detail. Adam is his niche on that, and he does it really fast with speed and efficient navigation, which are essential for SketchUp. So basically, in terms of the presenter statement here, both Adam and I, we hold together 59 years of combined industry experience. So we're bringing a lot to the table here. Our extensive knowledge and deep understanding of SketchUp makes us ideal specialists to guide you through your 3D journey. There is no better time than now to master SketchUp, harness the energies of the 3D excellence fueled by our passion and proven success, and you will benefit faster than it took Adam and I to learn. So there's huge advantages there to take advantage of, our knowledge here at See It 3D. So here we are. This is the first feature of the 2024 SketchUp, which is the new graphics engine. So what that really means is that it's had a complete upgrade. The new graphics engine is taking advantage of your emerging hardware and software technologies, providing notable improvements in navigation and responsiveness. So when you install SketchUp for the first time, it will be set to the new graphics engine by default. You'll go in there, you'll have a look at the preferences under graphics, and you'll notice that it's on. What I would say is have a go, play about with it, and switch between the classic graphics engine and the new graphics engine, and just to test it out for yourself to see the differences. It will be dependable on your own computer as to the response you're going to get. You might find, unfortunately, some computers may not be able to fully utilize the full enhancement of the new graphics engine, but we're here at any time you need to find out a bit more information on that. We can support you, but it's really, really good to have a look at this new engine. You're really talking generally about 8 times faster on the frames per second rate than what it was before in 2023 or beforehand. So it's a huge improvement.
And we have some examples on real SketchUp models, so we're going to show that in a moment as well.
Yes, thank you. And here we have the first comparison. It's a quick video showing the comparison between 2023 and 2024. So I have got quite a fast computer. The thing that you will notice the difference between that on the 23 versus 24 is the refresh render response on the roof. There's a slight delay when it re-renders, and also the planters rising on the columns. You can just notice that it's taken a little time for those graphics to be displayed in the render, but 2024, there is no delay whatsoever. So it is, a dramatic change and a noticeable change when you're working in the new version. So definitely worth trying it out. This one here is a test that you can do with your computer. We will send the little command which can be pasted in to the chat. Test.time_display. You hit the enter button, and what it will do is it will do a 360 render or an animation, and it will run it at, this example is like 72 frames, and 23 has done it in 6.5 seconds on my machine, and on 24 on the same machine, it's done it in 2 seconds. So, there's a considerable speed enhancement there. Definitely check it out on your own computer. You may find that there's a difference in, the data, but there will be a significant change. And this one here is just orbiting, panning and zooming, switching styles as we're spinning around, putting in a bit more stylizing to the model, shadows, hidden geometry. You can't really notice the difference between the two, but when you notice when I start to bring hidden geometry on, there is a delay in the orbiting on 23 on my machine compared to 24. So again, worth a test on your own system to see exactly the performance changes there. And so this takes us into the model tool changes, the move tool improvements in 24. So the first thing we're going to look at is the new feature for the move tool rotation grip controlling on the toggle. So what we can do is we can actually notice that we can turn off the red rotate grips on top of groups and components when we take our move tool across it. This helps because sometimes that can get in the way of you doing the standard tasks of moving geometry about. So you can toggle the move rotation grips to off and, get more control and not let any of the rotation sort of chattering get in the way. Good to have a shortcut on that one as well. And then also there is a new inference option. First one is called the new rectangle alignment inference. Normally when you're drawing a rectangle in your model, 9 times out of 10, the rectangle is going to be misaligned to the, the line work or the modeling geometry that you're working with, and you have to rotate it round. So here's an example of, the standard pencil tool recognizes the perpendicular inference, but the rectangle tool is rotating automatically now when you touch onto, you know, interesting line work that you want to align to. So it's got that alignment feature now, which is really useful. So it's going to save you a lot of time when you're, you know, you're modeling and just to get on with what you wish to do to enhance your models further. The leaning ladder inference is also a new feature as well. For example, this mirror here, we want to lean it onto the wall. Okay, so what we're doing is we're snapping on the pivot point down at the bottom of the component. We're clicking on the top end point of the component of the mirror, and we're carefully looking at moving the grip into the wall, but I'm just going to take it back over and find the snap for from radius. It's a little subtle grip that you look for, and that's quite useful because, you know, before you had to sort of work it out and try and get it close. The third one is inferring to guidelines. So in 2023, you could never draw line work or snap guidelines to other guidelines. You had to always draw a marker or something. So here we have the guideline drawn at the back, and I'm trying to infer another guideline. I've managed to lock it because I inferred to the midpoint on the floor, and then I've drawn a line from the intersection point where the two guidelines meet. 1 meter. I'm just doing that as a proof of the height. So I'm taking the pencil now and I'm clicking on the ground to draw a vertical line coming up. You'll notice that it's not finding that guideline, okay? Doesn't find it. You may think it does, but it doesn't. You would have to find an intersection point or draw a marker line along the guideline to make that work. And as you see, I'm thinking that I've drawn it correctly, but the line is small. It's 300 odd millimeters in height. Drawn out from the wall perpendicular along the green axis. Again, it is not finding the guideline. But in 2024, it's all changed. It's new and it works. So this is really useful. Usually when I'm modeling, I'm sure Adam will agree as well, that having to draw markers to fix onto things, that's no longer required. So you'll see drawing the line down, taking the measurement, clicking a point on the floor at the bottom. I'm just going to use the arrow up key. Now straight away I can touch on to the guide. You see how it's snapping. Very good. So just another tool there, like the other ones, to really speed up the efficiency during your modeling time. This one coming out from the wall again. Locking in the green and finding the guideline. Very good. Very, very useful. Guidelines are used a lot when measuring out to, you know, rough out. Really useful. This one here is when you're drawing a circle on a surface and you want to pull it up, and then you maybe decide to undo, you know, mid-operation, it deletes out the circle and the surface as well, and you have to start again. 2024, subtle change, you pull it up, you hit undo, and it reverses down, so the surface is still intact on the ground with the circle, so no need to redraw. So again, it's a subtle change, but a really useful one. Sometimes it can be annoying when you're having to come across that and think, I've got to draw it again. So very good. Another thing which is really useful that I think really important to mention is the error handling of extensions that come in to SketchUp, because now a dialog box pops up. If there's a failure on that extension, it will give you the option to recognize what extension it could be and allow you to switch it off or uninstall it. So a bit more sort of user-friendly awareness on the extension loading, and if there's any problems there, SketchUp wants to greet you and help you to fix the problem. Okay, and now probably one of the most interesting and marvelous graphical enhancements is the Ambient Occlusion feature. This is now available to desktop, SketchUp for desktop and SketchUp for iPad. And you'll see Ambient Occlusion also in layout, which Adam is going to show you later on, and also in the 3D warehouse. Just showing you quickly the styles there. The style dialog box is where the style Ambient Occlusion can be switched and played about with, and also under the view pull down menu, face style and Ambient Occlusion. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you over to Adam's screen for him to show you some quite amazing work using the Ambient Occlusion feedback.
All right, thank you, James. Hello, everybody. So let me just share my screen at this time. And all right, so let me just turn on the right one. Okay. So here we have the model, which I did some exports from. And first, I'm going to present to you how those exports looks like. So there we have it. So this is the 8,000 pixels export from SketchUp from that model, only with Ambient Occlusion turned on. So this is just like this additional feature that shows the form of the buildings, of the detail, and any other thing, actually. So this is how it looks like just with the Ambient Occlusion turned on. Then we have with the shadows. So now it starts looking more sharp, as you can see. All the details start to coming off. Next, we have the same, but without the shadows, and also with the edges and the profiles. And again, this is 8,000 pixels resolution, and in new version of SketchUp, it quite quickly exports from the model. So you can really push hard with those nice graphics. If you have models done, it's not taking very long. And here we have the same view, but with the shadows turned on. And again, we can tell that the graphic quality is way better than it was in even previous version. So I have some more examples, but let me show you on the model directly, also the efficiency of navigation with that new version. So let me first turn off the X-ray. All right. And normally in previous version of SketchUp, I had quite big problems with this model. I needed to disable certain tags, certain parts of the building, the details, and so on. And without it, I couldn't really work efficiently and quickly. And even if I would, in the version 2023, if I would have the profiles turned on, like here, that would be completely impossible to work. But in this case, we can turn on the profiles, we can turn on X-ray mode, and also we could turn on the shadows, which I'm going to do in a moment. But let me show you how smooth the movement is in this version. Even with all those details, the program calculates it very, very quickly and efficiently. So now with the shadows, everyone who was using shadows knows that if you have them turned on during the modeling process, it can be quite problematic as well. Sometimes you get not even 1 frame per second in the previous version. So with this new version, 2024, and that graphic engine improved, we are getting, okay, let me just also turn off the shadows on the ground. And for now, X-ray. Okay. It will update in a moment. And then I'm going to turn off the shadows from the ground, and I'm going to show the navigation. I'm going to show the navigation on the model directly. Okay, so now it's updated. on ground, I turn that off. And now, as you can see, even though the shadows are turned on, the movement is still very smooth. Of course, if you will move the time of the day or time of the year sliders, it will recalculate. But other than that, if the shadows are in just one position, it is calculated and it stays in the place and really helps with the navigation, right? And with understanding the form of the building. So now shadows can be really, it's much more friendly. The profiles and the shadows can be really, if you want them on, they can stay on and it will not crash the model. It will not freeze the model. So also one more example, like how it was looking in the previous version. So this is the export just with the edges and profiles of the same model, but the tower itself. And also another example, export with X-ray mode turned on. And then with a little bit of shadow. This, I think, looks quite nice with the shadow and the fog. So the fog feature in SketchUp was also, let me just go back to that model quickly, was also improved. The slider finally starts looking more readable. So I highly encourage everyone to try it out with the new version. And because previously it was very small, the sliders were very small, it was not really user-friendly, and it was like this for years. So now this version is really nicely improved in this manner as well, in this case. So let me go back to here. And this model is only using ambient occlusion, shadows, and fog. And in my opinion, it looks really good, even for the concept. If you have the building, you want to present that to the customer, you can use just that features. And also, let me quickly go back to the model one more time. And I'm going to just turn off the shadows. And I'm going to show you the ambient occlusion first, but only ambient occlusion. So I'm going to turn off the profiles and edges. And now ambient occlusion was off, so nothing is visible. But if we will turn that on, we can raise the distance, and intensity also can be raised. So it's really up to you. You want a stronger effect, you can manipulate that. And now we have only this effect, but if we will also turn on the textures, it will probably calculate for a couple seconds, but yeah, there we have it. So nice and smooth. And yeah, I think this model, without the edges and without the profiles turned on or other things, it still looks good. It could be nicely exported. So you can really push forward even the animations from SketchUp, the transition animations, which I'm going to show you, are just two examples of it. So let's quickly look. So this is just 10 seconds animation from that model with the fog and with ambient occlusion. So 30 frames per second. It took like 3 minutes or less to export from SketchUp, and one more in color. So if anyone wants to do those transition animations right from the program, of course, the animation is gonna be done in the style of your choice. So you can even choose the style that was pre-made in SketchUp. Obviously, you can choose the ones that looks like hand drawing, and you can do the animations from it without any problem. All right, so that concludes that part. I go back to you, James, now.
Thank you, Adam. That was really impressive what you're showing there. Some marvelous detailing on the modeling work.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me share my screen back. Coming through now, okay. Yep. Okay, so just to sort of finish off on the ambient occlusion, we've all been working in SketchUp as we have been with, textures on, and then maybe we will change this to hidden line, or, just turn off the textures, and you start to see some of the modeling geometry is not exposed at all. You can see the chairs here, the planting on the spice wall. Just general details on the table are lost. So another significant feature with the ambient occlusion is the fact that if we go to the styles, we bring on the profiles here and we can see the outline here. But then if we add in the ambient occlusion, it really starts to help to enhance the view. We can drop down the distance here, the intensity, we can increase it. So, it starts to really sort out that imperfection that we've always seen before. Similarly there as well, ambient occlusion starts to help, with the definition, certainly in the areas that we'd never normally see. Going to textures, bringing on the spice rack, and then just having the ambient occlusion just dropping in and just giving this subtle effect. Also on furniture, you can now see a bit more definition and the depth on the sofa, for example, whereas if this was turned off, it's very, very flat. So huge performance boost. Helps with your presentation images better. Try it out. And yeah, a really, really good one that they've brought out there. We've got the next topic of add location, which is bringing in the ability to define set high or low or medium density maps from the add location tool from Trimble Maps. You will be able to use a true north position and import the maps into your model. And there's a fantastic mesh stitching feature if you want to add more imagery whilst you're working up sort of land scheme developments. So I'm going to send you over to Adam now to do that demonstration.
Right. Okay. So here we have the model prepared. So just a small house, and to add the add location feature, we go to File, Add Location. The new window will pop up, and it's completely reworked. So anyone who was using the previous version knows that it wasn't very smooth, but this version it's completely different, far more usable. So we can turn on the top right, we can turn on the model, and it will appear in the scale 1:1. So now we already know more or less where we're going to be with the building on the map. And then we click on the import context, bottom left, and then we go to another menu, and here you can choose how big of the area you want to import. So let me import a bit bigger area with a little bit of water, and here we can move the selection, and all those corners, they are snapping to the next import and the next, because you can do multiple. You can go back to it. I'm going to show in a moment how it works. So let me position that. And here at the top left, on the top left of our screen, we have possibility to turn on either 3D mesh or 2D plane. We can import both. We can import just one, and the density of the mesh. So depending on the area, for this area, probably medium will be fine. So we're going to try, and then I'm going to try to import the high density mesh for the smaller area, and then a little bit more of the mountain at the bottom. So I just click import site context. And also the resolution here is set to high. I forgot to mention about that. And now it imports into SketchUp. We can either go back to it, import more, and add more areas, but we're going to go back to SketchUp for now. Let's close that. And now we have the flat area, which might be a little bit misleading for the new users. But if we'll go down here, geolocation, if we'll open the tag folder and also the 3D terrain tag folder, now we have 3D import 1. We can turn that on, and we can turn off the 2D plane, just not to have the collision of those planes. And as you can see, right now, we already have that location from the that mountain area, and it is set nicely to the building. Obviously, we can, if we would like to rise it, we could unlock that. But let me first, before we do that, I'm gonna import a little bit more, so we can go back to File, Add Location, and it will just import as second tag. So import context again, we can show the model on. Okay, import context. And now the density of the mesh, we're gonna set it to high. And let me just make it smaller, the area, maybe something like that. So just the closest area, for example, for Artisan plugin would be more useful if it's higher density mesh. Okay, and also be aware that if you exaggerate, it might take some longer to import, but I think here it will be fine. So I click import site context again, and those are just two parts of the map. And yeah, I click close, and now they are overlapping each other. So if I'll show the hidden geometry, you can tell that this small part, which is the import number 2, is higher density mesh. So import number 1 can be turned off, and we can tell that, yeah, we can really can do something interesting from it. We can sculpt it further. We could use maybe Soft Bubble, the famous plugin for terrain generation. I highly recommend that one. And yeah, let me just, I'll leave that import number 1 as turned off, and I'm going to go back for a moment to add location, and we're going to add a little bit more. So import context again. All right. And now I'll just grab that. And also look at that. If you're not remembering which one you imported, they are described nicely in this new version of SketchUp. So all good here, and the snaps are working. It will snap into each other. So let me just, yeah, maybe this area. And also let's remember about the mesh density. I'll put that to medium, but it should still import quite quickly. So import site context. It's downloading. And obviously we are using the advantage of SketchUp 2024 here, because in the previous versions, such dense mesh, let me turn back on the one that was imported first. I will turn off the high density mesh, and we have quite a big area, quite a lot of triangles here. So if you would like to move the area, obviously we don't really recommend that, but if you have to edit the area and adjust it to the building, you can unlock that, and then you can enter the group, and then you have the access to each part. So this is very nicely organized. And yeah, I think that usability of this tool has tremendously improved in this SketchUp version. So yeah, this concludes this part, geolocation or add location. And let's go back to you, James. Right, now we see it.
Okay, so ground mesh scan essentials feature focused predominantly on the studio users of SketchUp. This is another really nice release tool, addition to the scan essentials toolbar. It's an auto terrain detection feature that will allow you to actually generate terrain on point cloud. You can add greater detail to the terrain that's formed, and then you can turn the mesh itself, which is the terrain mesh, into a solid, and then start to perform some cut and fill analysis. So the whole process of this has vastly improved. We're not working with, very sort of fragmented geometry. It's coming in with the point cloud, it's accurate, and it's just smooth and a lot of control. So point cloud technology is amazing. I'm just going to run through here. So let me just jump over into, click on here to load the point cloud.
Development.
Open it up. So For those of you who have not seen this before, it's actually amazing technology when you can zoom out and you can see the point cloud information. So this area of land that's been scanned, just to run through a couple of quick things because time is moving on, is I'm going to go to the point cloud manager. As normal, we could go in here and change the opacity of the display of the point cloud, the density, the point cloud size, and a couple of other things down at the bottom there. A few other settings. It's recognizing point cloud, data coming in from the survey information. So we could do things like, turn off the point cloud, blend 50%, 75%, and just utilize some of these other tools as normal when we're working with the Scan Essentials. But the tool I want to focus on is the first one over here at the end, which is create ground mesh. So if I just zoom out, I'm just going to draw a quick rectangle. I'm just going to place it roughly over the area that I'm interested in, probably just over here. I'll just zoom in and move it down a bit. And then I'll select the surface. And then I want to go over to this new option here, create ground mesh. Gives us some mesh types to choose from. I'm just going to increase this up to maybe 3,000 squares on the mesh cell size at the moment, and I'll go for a bounded mesh. I've already selected the surface, so I'm just going to create the mesh. And what SketchUp's going to do is automatically transform the point cloud into terrain. Okay, now I can just get rid of the rectangle below, just get rid of the outline there, and I'll just close this down for now. I might want to go in and add more detail, but let me just turn off the point cloud for now so we can see this. We can go denser as well. If I want to add in more detail, I can select this here. Maybe just go for that section there, and let's add detail. So it's going to double the detail on here. On the terrain, you could then start using, extensions like Artisan or, just to refine the detail and even add further detail just to just start to get in there and start work up the geometry. I'm just going to come out of there now and I'm going to just right click. I'll go to soft and smooth edges just to smooth out that terrain there. Really useful this is. I'm now going to go to the Make Solid tool. So what it does is it actually solidifies the whole model. So if I select this and I go to the organization, you'll see in the entity info here, it's giving you a cubic meter volume of that selected terrain. Now, if I want to start utilizing that and I want to draw something maybe, like a small building shape. Just take this over here, just something very simple. Move this up. I'm just going to select all this and make it a group for this case. Usually I make components, but I'll just do this quickly for speed. And let's say we knew the datum of this building got into the land, maybe just spin it around there a little bit. So what we can do is we can use the solids tools. Just going to use the split tool here and select the two solids. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me information from the cut volume on the ground. So, really, really good. And I can actually join all that back together. So taking that over from importing in the point cloud is really, really huge. It can save a lot of time. Plus, it's more accurate as well. So that is one of my favorite tools in the new feature release for sure. Let me just change the.
So basically, working with the terrains in SketchUp 24 is
very good,
completely remade, and yeah, for sure you can do more advanced things now. Because some people are very afraid of sloppy terrains in SketchUp, but
Very much so.
there's no reason to be afraid anymore.
Exactly. So let's move on to the next part. There are two new file formats for import and export in SketchUp 2024, USDZ and GLTF and the GLB relating to that. Basically, what we're saying here is very high quality models, lightweight, with photographic textures on them, and they are just unbelievable. For example, you can see the piece of cake there that I've imported in from a website. And the resolution is just startling, especially when you put ambient occlusion on that as well. Adam is going to jump in and go over some of that. And Adam, if you can take that away, because this is really opening the doors for sort of visualization and 3D model sharing from all communities across the world.
Right, so let me just share the screen quickly. One more time. Okay. So I have almost empty file here, and I'm gonna import some USDZ and GLB, but I'm gonna go with USDZ. But let me just first explain what actually those formats are. So USDZ is basically universal scene descriptions and a zipped file, and it comes from Pixar Animation Studio, and it's becoming more and more popular for years now. And it basically contains the mesh and the textures. So all you need to do, you don't have to worry about the correct import of the textures onto the objects, which everyone knows who was importing something into SketchUp in the past, that sometimes you get a problem because you're getting missing texture. The locations in the folders are not correct sometimes. It really depends on the quality of the file from different locations, from different softwares. So with this USDZ, you can really do it quickly and efficiently. So let me go to File, and also GLB is similar. It's a format that comes as just one file, and the textures are inside. So I'm gonna go to Import, and now I prepared some steampunk pipes, which we're gonna show feature from 23 version, snapping. Not many people use it, but I think it's very, very useful. So I'm gonna hit Import, and it's taking just a couple seconds to import. It should appear right away. Okay, so we got it. Let me just raise it slightly. And so this is what we have. But just bear in mind that this kind of imports can quite often come as multiple groups inside. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just hit explode, and I have that on shortcut, Control-D. So I'm gonna just hit Control-D, Control-D, Control-D a couple times. Okay, and one more time, Control-D. All right, so now we have separate objects. So this kind of collections, this one I downloaded from Sketchfab website, which is, they have a lot of free of charge objects like this, or collections, or I don't know, rocks, fruits, anything you could need, vehicles. So I grabbed that, I used download 3D, and we have those formats. So USDZ and GLB, GLTF. So you can really use this kind of websites. I especially recommend Sketchfab. It's quite old website that they have everything sorted out. You can register for free here and, you know, grab the model of that you need. So going back to the model, I think I'm gonna do just 2 objects for the snapping, because I prepared the scene that already I have those objects here, but let me just show you for the ones who don't know how those snaps works. Let me just first make that as component. Oh, one more time. Let me add one number. All right, and now with the corner pipe. And now once it is done as the component, because you don't want to work with the groups, because then if you will add the snaps first and then make a component from the group, the snaps will disappear. So right away you want to do them as components. And now I'll double click, and it would be very handy if I would add some guidelines. So in the hidden geometry, let me just quickly modify it 90 degrees with the rotation and copy guidelines. I'm going to make that as a component. No names this time, just enter. Okay. And here we have the object prepared. I can move the axis also just for the clearer model. I'll accept the axis. And now going back. And when you right click, you have the option add snaps. So this is from version 2023, but also obviously in 2024. And with the arrow left and right and top, you can lock the correct direction. So I'll click once, I'll go here, click second time, and the rotation, we're gonna stay vertically. And the second one, click once, you'll find the axis, and then the rotation, and that's it. So now we have snaps, and one of those is, it has white plane here, and the second one has the plane green. So we have to make sure, let me just go back, we have to make sure that both planes are the same direction. So in this case, we can click that, reverse snap, and in this case, it is gonna work properly. So let me just prepare one more object. I'm gonna draw those additional lines, which will be very helpful here. Okay, 90. I'm gonna make a copy from this one, move it around and rotate it, 90, enter. All right, and now I'm gonna add the snap, add snap, arrow left. Okay, and one more, add snap, arrow right. Click, click, and done. So now let's just double check the snap. This is the green location, and this is the green as well. So they are both oriented outside. So if I did everything correctly, it should work right away. So I'll just grab the object and let me just do it again. Okay, so it snaps right away. I'll click on this one again, click. So if you will prepare this kind of objects for yourself, you can really quickly work with like some people call it kit bashing, or just, you know, I think that engineer that needs to create some vent installation or the pipes, you know, people who do the design for water pipes or any other, they can really utilize that tool. Of course, if they will respect the dimensions as well from each piece of the object. So let me go back. I mean, let me move to snapping example. I'm just going to grab 2 pipes or 4 objects, Control C, and I'm going to put it here. And let me quickly prepare such object. So we're going to move that here, this one here, this one to the bottom, and then we're going to move them all around. Yeah. And now the next piece. Yeah, we need to rotate that 180. Then the next one. Oh, it didn't work. Let me just redo it. Okay, it worked. Now the valve. Once again, we need to be precise here. Okay, it moved. And now 2 more to go, or 4 more to go. -1 on the scale. Let's just snap that. 180. All right. And those 2 objects, one will be on the wall. Maybe let's rotate that 190 degrees. And let's just try to place it. No, wrong. Okay, let me just redo it. 90 and 9 is 180. And I'm going to just get rid of that and place this snap here, move everything a little bit to the back, and now we can group that together and snap it on the wall. So as you can see, snapping plus USDZ can work very efficiently. And on the official model, which I'm going to show you now, we did some industrial style installation on the official model, because why not? If we can import pre-made objects and very quickly and efficiently use it. So we can do it, right? Not everyone probably would enjoy. The one who was doing the model maybe he would scream for that idea, but yeah, it shows you that using the pre-made objects, pre-made libraries with the snaps can be very efficient. So yeah,
Very good,
that's
very
it.
good.
And
Yeah,
back to you, James.
thank you for adding that in, Adam. And you were the one that said, I think we need to cover snaps, and quite rightly so, because a lot of people do not know that they are available.
Yeah. I hope,
Very.
you know, that it will be used, basically. I encourage everyone to try. It's
Yes.
annoying at first. It is annoying at first because you need to figure out how it works. But once you get it, it can speed up work tremendously.
Thank you very much. Let me just jump over and jump onto the next screen share. Looking good for link sharing. Okay, so this is really amazing as well, because what we can do now is we can share our SketchUp model to anybody who doesn't have SketchUp. So we can share it across, communicate over our project, share it via a link. It can be sent by email, anywhere, to anybody who doesn't have SketchUp. They can open up the viewer and they can measure, orbit, just get a feel, and yeah, really see what's happening. So the level of communication now is broadening with SketchUp across the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump into give you an example of that.
It's loading. Yeah, there we have it.
Okay, so we have this toolbar here at the top, and this is the official model. So we've got scenes along the top here, and you know, as we're working in SketchUp, we've got scenes, we've got tags, we've got styles, everything like that. So what I want to do is I want to just share a link to this model. Save it. So it's uploading it to Trimble Connect. So I'm just going to jump into my file here, folder here, sorry, and I'm just going to save it as share model. So when I click save as, it's going to upload, and you're going to get a notification that it's getting uploaded to the Trimble Connect cloud folder. So anybody who doesn't know what Trimble Connect is, you have it as a subscription. It's always been there. You just maybe not know what it's all about. It's been you know, brought out more now and made more efficient now for sharing and collaboration with other people across the design team. So it's working with IFC, BIM, and all the rest of that for easy sharing. So you'll see here now, I'm going to go to create a shareable link. So this share can be sent to anybody. Okay, I just copy it. If at any time I want to turn that share off, I just click this button here and it will stop the advertising of that to whoever it is that I'm sending it to. I'm just going to go down to, let me just see. You can see my screen, yes, with the web.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to go to the internet and I'm going to just pull this over, paste this in, and it's going to open up the web viewing of that model. So I can either open that up on a iPad, mobile phone, web browser. Starting to see the orbit icon on the cursor. It's going to appear very soon, and there we go.
There we go.
Okay, so over at the side here, I've got the scenes. Just click on that one that I was on. We can measure from it. So, you know, somebody who wants to just do a rough measurement can just go into the model. So then I can snap onto that there, lock it, and get a size from that seating area down onto the ground. Gives me that size in meters in this case. So really good. The only thing I will say to you is that you can't go in and start switching the, you know, you've got the views here. You can't turn the shadows off and on yet or control the tag viewing. So when you send that to the recipient, they get as what you've sent them. But that again is just a phenomenal feature, and I think you're going to use that one a lot because sharing is just such a blissful thing now to do. What's your thoughts on that, Adam, as well? Do you think it's a really top one that they've brought out?
Definitely, I think that, for example, people who are doing furniture, like also interior designers,
Yes.
will be using that feature, and it's very, very good for communication with customer, because especially in interior design, there's a lot of changes all the time because customers are, they vary. So some of them accept ideas quite quickly, some of them not really. So showing the idea right away, be able to send it through even, I don't know, any communicator, messenger, email, anything like that, just a link without the hassle of sharing the entire model, because previously we would have to set Microsoft Drive or Google Drive, put the file there, download it, and yeah, this time around it's way faster. It's just a link. So
absolutely,
definitely very useful.
Very good, isn't it? Applause for that. Okay, so let's move on to an IFC update with SketchUp. For those of you who are not aware of IFC, it's the standard file sharing format for building information modeling workflows. And what we have here is we have got on the screen a Tekla structures model, which is imported into SketchUp. The import of that is faster than it was previously. Obviously, because of time, we're just looking for time for Q&A. I'm just going to very quickly talk about it. What it really means in short is that an IFC model can come into SketchUp. On the attributes that you can see on the component options, it is reading all the IFC data coming from the source model, IFC model software. So with that, what we can do in SketchUp is we can add data inside the SketchUp model to that model or a new model that we've created and send that back up either to Trimble Connect or to the recipient's software product with the data intact. So it's starting to map out the IFC class information that is recognized in the BIM arena onto the SketchUp model and back. So it's a very, very good update, and it's actually starting to tick the boxes for the BIM workflow within the the built environment arena. Just going to jump over now just to discuss on the Revit importer. For those of you who are not aware of it, it's for Studio users, SketchUp Studio, where you can import the Revit model itself. Obviously, it's part of the Studio subscription. The models are coming in a lot lighter, in faster time, with cleaner surface geometry, and it recognizes the Revit families, and they will turn into SketchUp components and tags. And it's now compatible with Revit 2024. So this is now leading on to, again, another topic altogether. We could spend a whole webinar on iPad probably in the future, but just to run through it, it now supports SketchUp on the iPad for subscribers, has the Ambient Occlusion feature built in. The Omnibar feature for searching on the iPad makes it a lot swifter to navigate and, utilize the tools on the tablet. And scan to design. This is Eric from the SketchUp team. He's actually scanning with his iPad Pro in his office. He's just sort of mapping around the surfaces and the ceiling. We want to turn that into a model. And there we go. It's added into SketchUp for iPad. And you're looking at the data just very quickly. It's jumping in and showing you the information that it's getting the map textures. We want to then publish that to Trimble Connect, because then we want to take that into the SketchUp for desktop. And in SketchUp for desktop, we're now working with tag information that is actually showing surfaces, ceilings, So there's data there to use to control the visual representation of the survey. There's the mesh data. You know, orbiting around. There's Eric sitting on his seat. He's happy with his job that he's done with the scanning. The other accessories that can be isolated. Very quickly, it's generating a model that might take you longer to do it by, you know, yourself, just measuring up from a measurement survey. And it's also got the color by tag option. So it's automatically organizing the floors, doors, walls into tag data for you. So again, speed of operation, fast swiftness, and yeah, just organizing the model based from the scan that you did. Really, really impressive. Absolutely impressive. So now we go on to the layout updates, and Adam's going to jump in now to talk about that. So over to Adam. Thank you, Adam.
All right, let me just share the screen now. Okay. All right, so first of all, we again are getting the ambient occlusion inside of layout, the feature we talked about a moment ago. So it is being respected also in layout as a style, but just bear in mind that it will only be respected as either raster display or hybrid. It will not appear in the vector. Let me show you here. So here we have the hybrid mode, and also on the raster, it will work as we see here. This is the raster. So we have those modes. We need to remember about it that ambient occlusion will be only displayed in those two, not in vector. So as you can see here, we can compare it. This is just a regular raster mode. So this is one feature. The second feature is snapping. Once we want to draw something in layout, everyone knows that old snapping method was a little bit tedious, but in this case, it's working more like in SketchUp. So you can, if you start to draw the line, or let me just add something in. We start drawing the line, we can lock with the arrow left and right, we can lock the red axis, and with arrow up the green axis. So either horizontal or vertical, or if we have the line drawn, let's say something like that, we can align, we can hold shift, and it will respect the line that was already made. So that's quite handy. Also, it will work the same way here. And if you will click and hold the mouse on the line, you can hit arrow down on the keyboard, and it will go parallel or the other way around. So that also can help, especially when you have to draw something in not 45 or in not 90 degrees angle, or yeah, some different angle basically. So this is a new snapping feature. There's also one more, which is probably most important, which is the efficiency and performance. So we go to Edit, Preferences, and this new layout version uses the new graphic engine. So let me just show you, let's compare it. So if I'll disable the new graphic engine, and I'll go a bit lower, maybe to those pipes. Yeah, so now you can tell that the movement isn't very smooth. It's a good frame rate, but not very satisfying. But if we'll enable this new graphic engine, and if we'll turn that on, all of a sudden it's much smoother, much more smooth transition. So this is one feature, this new graphic engine, on that new graphic engine. And the second one is the draft mode. And draft mode basically help us with the performance, because everyone knows who was working in layout that with huge models, it's becoming more and more problematic. So if we'll enable that draft mode, and we will either leave it on pan and zoom only, so only during the camera movement, it will basically disable the raster images from SketchUp and both vector, or you can choose whether it should just be raster and the vector would be left like they are, but it will be also modified. The thickness of the line, let me just, no, I won't recalculate that for now. So if we start to move, we only have those very thin vector lines on the movement. If we'll turn on both, there will be no displayed SketchUp objects at all. So here you can choose between the refresh delay or redraw delay. It's really, again, depending on the file size. If it's going to be a huge file, probably it should be longer. But you can also control it with the letter K. So let me just disable that to better understand what we're doing. So now the draft mode is enabled, but with letter K, we can turn that off. So you really have nice control over it. And definitely the performance of layout was also improved in this version of the program. So anyone who didn't try layout yet, for sure, it's good time to start, to begin with that. Because I know people who are still working in a way that they're doing work in SketchUp, but then they export all the information, drawing information into AutoCAD. And it's really less and less necessary, especially with this new release. So yeah, that's, one more thing, sorry. You can also, okay, let me shut it down. Also, the export to PDF, let's say we would like to export from page 1 to 4 and from page 8 to 12. So in the previous version, you couldn't really do it. You needed to do 2 PDF files and then maybe join them together with external software, which you could do, but it was problematic. And in this version of layout, you can export right away anything you want. So any page you want. So I'll go to File, Export, and PDF. And here, let me just do it on the desktop, PDF, and save. And you can choose the range. So after the comma, so let's say number 1, number 2, 3, 4, number 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'm going to leave it like it is. Create PDF layers from layout layers. If you need this option, because you will be editing it in external software, that's probably a good idea to turn on. But other than that, we can leave it off. And yeah, only the website, only the sites, the pages going to be exported as 1 to 4 and 8 to 12. So I'll hit export. And now it exports 9 pages in total. We're going to wait for a moment. It should rather be quick because the export also works quite smoothly. And we're going to see in a moment. We're going to see in a moment the result. Okay, so let me just check the result. Right, so we can zoom in. We can even check. We can check the export looks good. Even my pipes that I added are here, quite visible. Let me go down. Yeah, ambient occlusion is also respected in the export. And yeah, in the color. So pretty much we can achieve really good results. And imagine how long would it take if you would like to put that model into other softwares, like for 2D drawings. There's no point to do it, seriously. Going into layout makes sense a lot. So anyone who works in SketchUp who didn't try layout yet, just let us know. We'll get you through it, or just try it yourself. There are tutorials online as well. So if anyone wants to do it, there are ways to do it. And yeah, that concludes.
Very good, Adam. Yes, very
layout
good.
Updates.
Yes, in fact, even the pipe work there, I'm sure that's for the beer supply for the happy hour on a Friday night for the office workers in the project there, I would say. Somebody's just asking a quick question. Can you put dimensions in layout also? Yes, you can.
Obviously, yeah.
Thank you for that. So just very quickly, key takeaways that I would say from the presentation is that SketchUp 2024 improves the visualization, collaboration, and documentation for enhanced efficiency. Performance faster and more responsive, handling intricate models efficiently. And Scan to Design is revolutionary iPad workflow, boosting productivity. So it's all plus points there. We have got some of the enhancements from this release, sort of nicely captured for you. And what I'd say now is that when you finish up, we might just have maybe 5 minutes or so on the Q&A, see if anybody's put anything in the chat, Adam. The QR code is there on the screen if you want to scan that. Our email addresses are there as well. And yes, I mean, if you can fill in the survey, we'd really appreciate it. Ask any questions in there as well. Even if you want to catch up for, you know, a quick Zoom meeting, chat about things, about how it's working in your business, how you want to improve. Based on what you've seen, I think you'll notice that there's dramatic changes to the software now. So we're really encouraged by it. So maybe have a look in the chat. If anybody has got any questions that we can maybe jump in, we understand that you'll have to go back to your daily work chores, but let me just check. Is iPad include with the desktop? Desktop version, iPad, SketchUp for iPad is the software that comes with a subscription, either a studio subscription or a pro subscription. It's free, but you would have to install it on an iPad. You know, you'd have to have an iPad device to install it on yourself. But the software is there for you to use. Teaching on the iPad on SketchUp is a whole different game as well. I mean, we could spend several sessions on it on the tutorials on that. SketchUp.com do video tutorials on the tools. Very useful tool.
Yeah, let me answer one question as well. Luis Edu was asking, can you put dimensions in layout also? Not only dimensions, but you can adjust the scale, you can adjust the drawing, you can adjust the paper to anything you need, either typical dimensions like A4, A3, whatever, you know, just the international dimensions of the paper, but also the scale. And you can also add your own scales, because let's say someone is not using the imperial measurements, but goes with millimeters and centimeters and so on, then you can get rid of the scales that you don't really need, and you can add your own. So also you can really adjust mostly anything in layout from SketchUp model. You need to base all the work in layout on SketchUp scenes, SketchUp tags, and one more, you have the access to tags. So tag system, if you will, if you will not only treat SketchUp like visualization tool, but also as regular CAD program, you can get all the features from the tags as well, because layout allows you to turn on and off and adjust each tag individually inside of the SketchUp model panel in layout. So everything is very nicely connected here, and there's like tremendous amount of reasons to start using layout as well.
Yeah, there's just one thing as well that I catch a lot of people quite surprised on, Adam, is when you tell them that they create tags in SketchUp and then they take them into the layout and they can view the line work on the viewport, they maybe want to change the color of that line type if it's like hot and cold water supply, dashed lines. They can do that in layout as well.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
So compared to if we'll see SketchUp Pro in 2010, let's say, and how the layout was working, and it was very problematic back then. Even like files that were 30 megabytes were crashing, and now you can put the file that are 300, 400 and even more megabytes, and it works like a charm. So really it's the best time to learn layout as well, not only SketchUp.
Yeah, totally agree. So just checking, maybe people are leaving now, I don't know, but is there anybody else got any other questions before we conclude?
You know, SketchUp works way better. It's still a good idea to use components wherever you can. you know, use the tags. Don't get too excited that it's hugely updated the performance, hugely improved the performance. It's still a good idea to use the nice, clean methods of work inside of the program.
And then also to top that off is if you're importing models from the 3D warehouse versus the new USDZ model geometry. Adam, do you think that there could be benefits on that versus some of the warehouse models that you import?
There might be, yeah, there might be, but obviously if you try to import like several huge models, like one model will be 30 megabytes, another will be 40, and so on and so forth, or some car, like highly detailed car models, unfortunately you'll probably be disappointed because it will take longer to import, and it will still slow down the program a little bit because the performance is improved, but it's still not 3ds Max or Blender. You know, SketchUp is still SketchUp. It's hugely improved this version, but just bear in mind that you cannot really exaggerate with high poly models from the internet. Just if you're not sure whether it will work, always open another instance of SketchUp and try it inside the empty file that import. It's in my opinion always a good idea to do it this way. And you know, of course, 3D warehouse, everyone needs to be aware that free libraries contains some problematic models as well. So the same thing.
Yes.
In my opinion, it should be opened in another instance, not in the main model you're working on, but on another instance of the program. That's good behavior, in my opinion.
I think also as well, Adam, as well, when designers are downloading models, they're always doing that to really populate a scene. So they're expecting the models to be lightweight, and unfortunately, depending on what they download, you really have to have that little bit extra core of knowledge to say, right, I'm going to check this model. Is it good? Is it not? Do we save it? And then you know that lightweight
double check
models,
hidden geometry.
Double check it. Yeah. All of that stuff.
So the answer is it depends.
Depends, really. So yeah, I mean, happy to talk to you about, you know, your MacBook. Open up SketchUp. We'll go through some of the settings on it, see what you think. With a big model, you know, I don't know what type of models you're working with, so we can certainly look at it. I'm offering you that, you know, as a free catch-up, Louis, if you want to look at that further to help you out. Happy to help.
All right. Are there any more? Okay. Any other questions?
There is onboard and extra. Okay, so you have got. I read that later on when I saw that. Yes, thanks. So you could switch it over onto the card. Excellent. Les, thank you for joining there. Good to see you. So I think no more questions then, I think.
Right. So,
okay, that's us.
Can conclude,
ready to
right?
go. Yes. So next time we'll be releasing out some more webinars. Christine, I see you there. Sorry, I missed a lot of the session.
Yeah, there will be recording of that.
Don't worry, Christine. I actually started the presentation, missed it about 3 or 4 slides, forgot to share. Adam helped me out there. So yeah, absolutely happy to talk. If you want to discuss anything as well, Christine, you know, just drop in you know, an email or a call on any of these things.
All right.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for joining again. Really appreciate it. So thank you, Andy, for your feedback. Good luck, everybody.
Let's hope it will be even better. 25 version will be even better.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay,
all right.
take care,
Thank you,
everybody.
That concludes our webinar.